It appears Spaceboy is prone to deception. Witness! Yikes! Yes? I thought your story odd, but perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Ah! Prosecutor Blackwell, please don't talk about that. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Didn't I already state that Spaceboy is, ironically, terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. For you see, traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh? Anytime I think of O with a question mark, I think of Phoenix Wright in the first game and going, oh? I think I remember saying that as Phoenix Wright. Second case or third case or something. I know I did it in my playthrough of it. I sense things are going to nosedive in 3, 2... Hold it! You got it all wrong! I told him during the investigation, too! I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear! It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped him in! But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember, because of the side effects. Yeah! That's why I don't remember much about what really happened. What? Order! Order in the court! We can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, this certainly explains why his testimony kept changing. Why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? I guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified into going into space. Maybe I really did do it? Which brings us to the answer of our original question of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does? So you mind filling me in? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, Justice Dono. So the body was simply dropped from the top of the ladder. Oh my! I see. And then the defendant could climb down with his free hand.
Objection!
Drop the body down? Who would do such a respectable thing? You want me to tell you something? Wouldn't his body come up with like a bone being damaged since it was dropped from the frickin' since it was dropped from no, I don't want this. If his body was dropped from there and was dropped down there, wouldn't that maybe cause a broken bone or something? I want that, but I wish they would freaking investigate that body instead of just taking gloves and helmet off and that's it. Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. Exactly. So you are capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Oh, thanks. Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it's ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am, for they are fractured. They fracture easily when struck.
Objection!
Oh man. Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and sharp shrapnel would leave its mark on the body. Yet, according to the autopsy report, only the knife wound was found on the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning.
Silence.
Oh, wait a second. Wait. First time tonight, but I do move this 3DS a lot. A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy, Justice Dono. Oh, he's gonna go with the padding technique where spacesuit ruptured the fall and didn't cause bruising to him. It includes the latest technological devices and is made of a fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer.
Objection!
Then shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should, and yet through sheer coincidence, the knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit's structure and found its way to the target. Wow! So out of the very, very, very thin line, the knife found a weak spot. What are the chances? Seriously, what are the chances? You forget that our killer is an astronaut himself with knowledge of how the suit works. Oh my god, he's just turning this turnabout all around. Ugh. He's got me there. And now for my argument. And now my argument has been proven. Space Boy killed the victim in the rocket and then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure that the camera recorded them. Unless, like I keep saying, this guy happens to be Clay, and according to this, his oxygen tank is still, or no, you can't see the mouse, right? Unless, of course, that happens to be Clay, and as you can tell right there, his oxygen tank is completely fine, and so that would turn the whole case all around, going back in a turnabout. Roundabout turnabout. There's no room for debate about these facts. It is clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. Gah! Here, the report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it my send-off gift. Thank you. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Shut up. That's gonna make my way to heaven. Hey! Jeez! Quit freaking stabbing me and stuff. Okay. Hey, this report is pretty detailed. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining after the... Okay, well, I'll read that in a little bit. Let's see. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows how much oxygen remains. I guess that means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen remaining. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Or I'm going to prison instead of space, or however that space I can't remember the name of that. The space personality from Portal 2. Space! Yeah. Space Boy. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful, even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars as seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all Man, I have horrible reflux tonight or something. I don't know. I did eat some popcorn before starting this, and that's what I keep burping. In your own craft for all time. That's not a half bad thought. Mr. Starbuck, Prosecutor Blackwell got to him good. Spaceship prison cell, fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then, let's get sucked into a black hole together. Hold it! Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh, yes, Apollo? You know, Clay really looked up to you. He said you are an incredible man. He said you'd never give up your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and just help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Tarrant. For Clay. Humph. You're wasting your breath. Rah! Rah! Grah! Roar? Whoa! Apollo, thank you! I can see things clearly now! Mr. Starbuck! I'm fine now! Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission! Right. We'll both be fine. I'll prove you're innocent. You'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. Rah! You've ignited the booster rockets of my soul! I'm on fire! I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero, chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling me. Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! What's he doing? Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it! You broke Prosecutor Blackwell's grip over Mr. Starbuck. I can't take the credit. It was all Mr. Starbuck. He pulled himself through. Humph! You simpletons are done massaging one another's egos. No matter how positive your mood, my advantage still remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right? Your baldness. Gah! I can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice. Think! If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Now let's see. About this data we just received. This supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. Enough of this farce! Your baldness! Let's have that verdict!
Objection!
Objection! No. Prosecutor Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict. But about this oxygen tank data you just submitted now, it says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining, while Mr. Terrence had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then I guess it simply means that it's faulty as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, Justice Stono. And I was right all along. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look at the detailed description and you'll see what I mean, which I said I was going to read it. I will read it now. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured and the remaining oxygen was 0%. The tank belonging to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. I do, because I pointed out a long time ago. Yes, Your Honor, right away. This is the evidence that the oxygen tank report stands in contradiction to.
Take that!
Take that! And how does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part right here.
Take that!
Take that! Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Terran. It appears to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client's tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen in the tank increased? I see Your Honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there is a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my! You're absolutely right! What is going on here?
Silence!
I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it's the defendant carrying the victim's corpse.
Objection!
Objection! I'm going to bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase, just as your rations don't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it.
Silence.
In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of the mysteriously increasing oxygen tank? You'd better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate counter-argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. So, do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can! I've said it all along! The thing to do at a time like this is to turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried clay. So this man, with 50 on his tank, ought to be Mr. Starbuck. But if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have shown an 80. This is a clear contradiction between the report and the security footage. So what I should be asking is not, why did the oxygen level increase, but what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumptions here? Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting as you ponder and thought. Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. There's one answer here I really want to say, just because it looks so freaking stupid. They were going the other way! Maybe they were escaping in the opposite direction. What? The opposite direction? Like how rewinding a video makes things look like they're repairing themselves? In which case, I think the one who's going to need rewinding is you, Mr. Justice. Pain! I'd rather fast forward through this myself. What had to have happened to make it look, yeah. Just because I could not say it, but just because. The answer is simple. The tanks were damaged. Ack! I don't think the problem is with the tanks, but your eyes, Dono. Especially that one eye with the freaking bandage over it. It's written in the report that the tanks were functioning properly. Ack! It's amazing how diligent reporting can come back to bite you in the rear. And it's amazing how your diligent negligence can come back to bite you in the rear too. Let this penalty remind you of the consequence of your actions. Pain! Ow. My aching rear. Let's try that again, but with the correct amount of health, because I already told you all. It's obvious what the answer is here. It is so obvious what the answer is here. The answer is obviously the victim was carrying the defendant. That's why he doesn't remember anything. What if it was the other way around? The other way around? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out, this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Taryn, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Taryn at all. It was actually Mr. Taryn who was helping Mr. Starbuck to the boarding lounge. It was what? Say what? Order, Mr. Justice. You mean to tell me that the person on the right, in this image, is the victim, Clay Taryn? It's the only way the riddle of the increasing level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%. And when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0%. That's right! There's nothing contradictory about the oxygen level decreasing. This means Mr. Taryn was alive as they made their escape to the lounge!
Silence!
Short memory. Your memory is... Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? Even if the victim was alive at this point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Objection! Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me? It's true that we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating, of course, but we have proven that Mr. Taryn was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. Grah! Were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. It seems we'll have to hear the testimony of these first two people on the scene. Score! Come to think of it, Detective Arms should be here in the court right now. Bailiff, could you please show up Detective Arm to the stand? You! I have an announcement, everyone. What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here! Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode. Load! A bomb? Now? Ugh! Everybody run! Eek! I don't want to die! Oh no! Everybody's panicking!
Silence!
Headless chickens with a death wish! The lot of you! Calm yourselves afore all else! Come on, Apollo! Let's get out of here! But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream? And who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me! I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth forever! I refuse to let things into here! Apollo! This is no time to be dramatic! If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna die! Come on! This way! Hey! Ouch! Let me go! Apollo! Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet? Eek! Juniper! Are you alright? Apollo! No! Not that way! Ah! Sounded like Starbuck for a second. Whew. Well, and with that, I'm gonna end it here. It's 4:20 at night, and that was a very yeah, that was a day. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm gonna rest my voice, and it wasn't that long, but I mean, right now it's getting close to over 2 hours, I think. So if not, it's 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to catch you all next time. Hope you all have a great day.